Fuck you, you creep. Please stop.
Jesus wept.
Now the sheriff, I got him.
I got plans for you. I'm gonna slit your eyelids in half so you don't blink when I stab you in the face.
You don't know what death is.
I like to dissect girls. Did you know I'm utterly insane?
Hey, this is Trevor with Blood, Guts, and B-Movie Trash Talk, and we watch and review movies that you do not have time for. And as always, before we jump into anything, I'd like to introduce the second half of this fantastic show. Steve, don't skimp on the sexy Norman.
Hey!
We should play that the whole time we review
Just in the
Resurrection.
background. I'll save it for key scenes.
Perfect. So, hopefully you had the opportunity to listen to the last two episodes of the breakdown of the Halloween franchise, or the retrospective. Today we're going to focus on two things. We're going to finish off this...
The worst, possibly, and one of the best.
Yes, we're going to first review Halloween Resurrection, starring Busta Rhymes and...
Big-headed Tyra Banks.
Yes. And then we're going to jump forward and do more in-depth, solid review on Halloween 3, which I'm very excited about. Roadhouse. So let's start with Resurrection here, Steve.
Mm-hmm.
You got the budget details?
That's right. Halloween Resurrection, $13 million budget, made $37.6 million.
God.
It came out in 2002, and I can only suspect it was riding off of the buzz of the last one.
And also theme, like the theme to it as well, I think was related to that reality TV show that was on MTV, where they had put
like
some sort of video cams on the characters and put them in haunted areas. You know
I was thinking the real life, but yeah, maybe you're right. I think that this movie was trying to do many things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they were trying to cash in on that Blair Witch Project money.
Oh, yeah.
They were trying to be like, hey, we're cool, look, it's the internet.
Mm-hmm.
They were also trying to, do some more reality show stuff, back when reality shows were still in their infancy.
Yeah. Definitely, because of the internet boom and just the way reality television was at that time, this movie definitely tried to take advantage of all that. So, do we know, is there anybody in this movie that had helped out in the previous film, Steve? Directors, writers? You got any idea?
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Oh, okay.
But I can't say that she helped on anything aside from acting.
Yeah, all right.
I didn't write down the information for this one either.
Nah, it's okay. I don't think it's very important.
So why don't we just, you got the information from the back of that box?
I do. I can read that.
I'd buy that for $1.
Yeah.
So the reality programmers at Dangertainment have selected a group of thrill-seeking teenagers to spend one fun-filled night in the childhood home of the serial killer Michael Myers. But the planned broadcast turns deadly when Michael Myers himself decides to crash the party. Bianca Kajlich from Bring It On, Katie Sackhoff from Riddick, Busta Rhymes, Tara Banks also star with a special appearance by Jamie Lee Curtis.
Bunch of winners.
Oh, yeah. This is, wow, Busta Rhymes. This is pretty... Busta, yeah. Sorry for saying that correctly. I apologize.
Come on, pal. So, yeah, this movie takes place 3 years after H2O, I think. And it's basically like a reality TV show, or like it's kind of like a shitty version of Scream gone wrong.
Yeah.
And, it just sort of starts with finishing off the franchise's best character by having you see her in a mental institution.
She's pretending to be psychotic, but she's just waiting for Michael to come back, right? But she's probably still psychotic.
It's a plan. Yeah, she's a little messed up from the way the last movie ended, which is she lopped off somebody's head. It was the wrong guy. Because in another classy tale of, what did I say it was called last time?
Rectum?
Rectum? Damn near killed him. Well, I don't remember. Recon? Anyway.
Yeah.
They have decided to refilm some scenes, and in this version of events, it turns out that it was an EMT that got his voice box smashed, and then he got his head glued into the mask or something.
Yeah.
And switched places, even though he sits up exactly like Michael Myers when he's in the back of the old truck. And so yeah, she's crazy now because of this, or at least looks like she's crazy. I mean, she did steal a government vehicle and
killed somebody
and brandished an axe at the cops, so she's in a bit of trouble anyway, so I guess pleading insanity is the way to go.
Sure. I think that's her only option. I mean, if you kill somebody just for the thrill, I feel that that's the defense that the lawyers would put together. I mean, she didn't kill her brother. She killed some random dude. So.
Here's what I think happened in the courtroom. Mm-hmm. She explained her story, and they said, "You're insane." And she's like, "No, I'm not insane. It was misunderstanding." And they're like, "You're insane."
And to top it off, she just pissed herself.
So, because when I took criminal justice class, I had heard from the teacher that it's not desirable to get the insanity. First of all, people don't really ever ask for it. Second of all, the reason you don't want it is because you kill somebody, you might serve 10 to 13 years maybe. You get found insane, you're never getting out of there.
Really?
So you don't want that, because you could kill somebody, and if you're good, you might get out of there in 8 years. But
wow.
You're not getting out of anywhere if you're insane. You're staying there. So she's insane. She's taking these pills out of her mouth and putting them in her little doll. And why is she pretending to be insane, Trevor?
So she can finally get out of there at the right time, the right moment to finish off what she had started in H2O.
Yep.
And that's to kill her brother, because she knows he's coming back, and it's just a matter of time. And she looks haggard and heinous as ever in this.
And that's why they've locked her up in the state's finest facility, not a dungeon. So she's in this dimly lit dungeon, and she makes her way to the roof. She's set up some sort of trap where Michael Myers steps in it, and it pulls him upside down, hanging over the roof.
It's a classic trap.
Classic gag.
Yeah.
They give you access to rope and the roof and everything in a mental institution.
Oh, yeah.
And so she gets ready to cut his head off, and at that point, he decides to start flailing around like he's the wrong guy again, because he's a baby genius, like we talked about. And he knew that this would get her. And so he's flailing around, he reaches out for her, and she's like, "I've got to be sure." And goes to get him, and sure enough...
Big mistake.
You killed...
Big mistake. She reaches out to him, and I don't know if she's just saying, "I got to make sure," or if she just feels bad that she's going to kill her brother. I don't know, but she reaches out and grabs her.
She's not going to recognize him anyway.
Yeah, just... What's worse could happen? They throw you back in the loony bin? Come on.
What's another guy?
Yeah.
You killed
They up your meds?
Yeah. You killed Jack Slater's favorite second cousin. Big mistake.
But anyways, she reaches out, he grabs her, he pulls her off the side of the building, and he's hanging on by the rope with one arm.
With one arm behind his back.
Which we've found, I would say the second half of this franchise, that he's quite strong.
He's strong in the one arm, in the sense that he likes to lower himself down from ceilings with one arm.
Yeah.
He likes to dangle with one arm. Can we get into that then? Because in this movie, it continues the trend of Michael Myers lowering himself into the shot with one arm.
Yes.
You notice on the last movie we watched, that's never been his move. And all of a sudden, it's camera shooting down an empty hall, and all of a sudden... this asshole lowers himself down with one arm. Okay, you're going to see a man hanging from the ceiling, especially whether he's using one arm or not. It's not going to just slowly lower him into it. Your arm is not 12 feet long.
Yeah. I feel like this is his way of showing people that Yeah, he's old, but he's still got it. But I don't like it.
He's only like 45. I mean, still got grown man strength.
Yeah, I guess so.
But yeah, so gets pulled over. She decides to give him a smooch.
Oh, weird, right?
Yeah, she's like, I'll give you a kiss. That makes sense. Maybe just like start punching him in the face.
Yeah, do your fucking job.
Yeah,
like,
she did a flip, ended up getting stabbed. At this point, you're going to die anyway. So why don't you try to do something?
Yeah, put your thumbs in his eyes.
Yeah.
Like, do something. But anyways, he stabs her, and he throws her off, and she falls to her death.
Now, as lame as this whole scene sounds, the movie only gets worse.
Yes. I feel like this is the most important part to kind of go over because, I mean...
Yeah, and it's sort of like they decided to do a Scream move where they kill the biggest star in the beginning and then the rest of the movie is
The
different than
Hitchcock
you would
move.
expect. Oh, well.
Well, it's a Wes Craven one, too.
So that is the good old-fashioned part. From there, I think we're going into the kids. No, from there we see that fucking Goomba in the basement that loves serial killers.
Oh, yeah, so let's talk about that. After Myers finishes off Laurie Strode, Jody.
Jody Strode.
Jody. He walks down and finds the probably kookiest fat ass in that mental facility and basically hands off the...
hands off the knife.
Hands off the knife.
So it's like, this fucking Goomba knows everything about everything.
Yeah.
And he's like, Michael Myers, born... What is
Blah,
it,
blah.
58?
Yeah, just going, like, throwing out dates and specific murders.
And, you know, this could be because this movie came out in 2002.
Mm-hmm.
This is not your great-grandpa's Halloween movie that was put out the first one.
Mm-hmm.
So the point is, you probably got like 14-year-olds going to watch this movie that possibly have no clue that the series even existed before this movie. So we've got this
They do this in almost every movie, I would say, from, I don't know, all of them have a bit of exposition that kind of cover the franchise going back, but 6 is like,
and at the
that's when it
they're
starts
like,
getting ridiculous.
Yeah, well, in this one, the nurse is like, and she, whoop, almost hiccup. The nurse is like, he killed what did she say? Laurie Strode, she, gonna kill her brother and it was the wrong guy. Like, the nurses are just talking,
just spilling
the whole
out
time.
Yeah.
And at the beginning, and then after, so we know Laurie's backstory because of the nurses before this killing, and then after, we know what's going on with Michael, that he's a threat because old clown boy has a fucking hard on for John Wayne Gacy, starts talking about how Michael Myers is blah blah blah, and he's just giving out his greatest hits.
Oh yeah, spitting them out, educating the audience.
October 31st, 1978. You donned a ghost costume and wore glasses. He just tells him everything.
Yeah.
So anyway, he gives him a knife as some sort of souvenir, maybe to blame the retard for killing her.
Which would be pretty baby genius smart there.
He's smart, so that could be it. And after that, we followed the rejects from American Pie, plus one of the kids from American Pie.
Yeah.
And they're going to be on some sort of reality show from, what was the company called? Terror Fandom?
Like, I don't know. Like,
Some
I've already forgot.
Name Buster Rhymes might have actually come up with.
Yeah.
And basically, they are going to be on a reality show where they're going to investigate the evils behind Michael Myers. But it's only been 24 years, so clearly the stuff's still going to be there. We're going to be able to uncover all this stuff because these are geniuses from high school that are smarter than any detective could have possibly been.
Yeah.
So this part, we've got the kids being interviewed and they're being filmed and they're like, oh, blah, blah, blah. It's kind of like the real world. They're like,
tell us why you're here. Kind of like, tell us who you are, tell us why you're here and why you want to be here.
Yep.
Kind of an introduction to all the teens that are going to be placed into this disaster.
And a motley crew of kids they've got.
Yes, and there's a few of them that are clearly not teen.
Yeah, like that guy that's 35 and he looks like he
That's
used
in
to
American
drive.
Pie.
Yeah.
Dude, he's got to be 40.
That guy, and then we've got the supposed
Rookie
music.
of the year.
Yeah, that movie was great.
Sorry.
We've got that music major that probably drove Stephen Hyde to every taping of that 70s show. It's like his older brother.
Yeah.
And so yeah, they're interviewing them, and they're like, yeah, we're just gonna look for clues to find out why he is the way that he is. And we got this asshole Buster Rhymes. His name's Freddy. He likes kung fu, and he's weird looking. And he gets very excited about kung fu, and he just wants to.
I think he just wants to also just bang out some of the girls.
Yeah, probably.
This.
And he's like, I own this company, and he hires Big Head Tyra Banks.
Yeah.
Which, if you, like me, wanted to see Tyra Banks killed, you do see her killed, but... Oh. Spoiler alert.
Oh, man.
You do not get to see her being killed, which is what I wanted to see.
Arnold would say, big mistake.
Big mistake.
Yeah, there's a few people I wanted to see die in here, and unfortunately, you don't get the pleasure of seeing it, that's for sure.
Yeah, you don't see Rhymes die at all. He doesn't die.
I was so pissed.
So, yeah, they... one girl seems to be having a little... she's kind of unsure if she wants to do it or not. We got her blonde friend that just wants to fuck on the camera.
Just wants to bang on the internet.
And yeah, so that people will like her. And we got a bunch of other losers in this movie. So moving along, they go to the house, and come to find out there's the one girl's got a Palm Pilot that she's just talking away
Oh, yeah.
to this Deckard fellow. Now, I don't know how Palm Pilots worked, but seeing as they did not have a wireless signal to be connecting to, I'm not sure
makes
how
no
it works.
sense.
Do they?
I had one of those.
How did they connect? Was it just like some form of Bluetooth messaging, or did you have to have a cell phone subscription? Because I don't think cell phones were around.
It's fucking. It's called Hollywood magic, because
you can see him typing on this. Like it pops up as he's typing.
See, and let's talk about this again. In the last episode, I went on this giant rant about how these movies in the 90s focused so heavily on technology that did not exist.
It's true.
Or maybe only existed in the hands of the government. But it's funny, they do it again in this, even though we're out of the 90s and into the 2000s. But I don't understand this wireless, Bluetooth concept when that didn't even exist. It makes no sense.
Yeah, so... But it has to make sense for this movie because they've already gone and based everything around it.
Uh-huh.
So what we've got going is we've got a house basically with a bunch of fake shit in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Myers house. We also have Buster Rhymes in a news van with expensive equipment. And in the garage, we have big four-headed Tyra Banks manning the station, making herself espressos, dancing around, just making you want to see her killed.
Mm-hmm.
And she's supposed to be manning these video screens, and that's when they let the kids in, and they just sort of walk around like a shitty version of Blair Witch, because you're watching through cameras that they're wearing on their heads.
Yeah.
And they're supposed to find clues, and you get to follow this seemingly gay black guy as he invades the spice rack and smells the fresh fennel. And yeah, so they just stroll around for quite a while thinking they're finding actual stuff.
Yeah, but I think it's all planted. They're just trying to create this reality TV show with fake thrill. So,
but they don't know it.
The kids don't know it. They've told the kids one thing and they're doing the other. They're just there to scare the shit out of these kids and to get it on film. And
in a stroke of genius, Buster Rhymes has taken it a step further and decided to. What did he decide to do?
I have no clue.
Dress up like Michael Myers.
Oh.
Exactly.
And yes, the mask doesn't look too ridiculous considering he has about 3 feet of dreadlocks that would probably stretch it out.
Not to mention a foot of teeth.
Yeah, Jesus.
So he puts on the mask also, and he wants to give America a good show.
Mm-hmm.
and stroll around and scare these kids in this murder house. Unbeknownst to everyone, he's doing this. Unbeknownst to everyone plus him, Michael Myers is also doing this because he's living in a catacomb in the basement. So you get to see a couple of Goombas walking around, and at one point, Michael Myers is strolling up behind him, both dressed in Michael Myers gear, and Busta Rhymes yells at him because he's like, he thinks it's a different guy that works for him.
Yeah.
He's like, get out of here. They can't see two Michael Myers. And so basically they look through a bunch of ridiculous shit.
I thought he was going to die right there. That's pretty...
And he doesn't.
I know.
He never does.
Fucking pisses me off. Well, I guess at this point we can say that the guy from American Pie, who lost his virginity in American Pie, is going to have a second chance with Blondie. Because there's a scene in this movie where he meets up with her and they have the cameras going on and she starts taking her clothes off and stuff, right? Right,
although it's not Tara Reid in this movie.
No.
It's a better one that's probably also more annoying, but So yeah, they're hanging out in there and it's like, you know what's a good idea? Let's go in this house, the same room that his sister got killed, and see what we can work up here, because we only have to be here for a day.
Yeah.
But we can't hang out after this. We needed to check this out now while we're wearing cameras and have microphones and stuff. So they decide to do that. We've got the music major that looks kind of like Stephen Hyde, and he's trying to do that with the red hair girl.
Mm-hmm.
And we got the obviously gay black guy that likes to cook hanging out with a different girl that wasn't sure about going, and she's also got a Palm Pilot.
Yes.
There's a man codenamed Deckard that's watching, and he's the one sending her messages on the Palm Pilot. And he goes to a party, and he still decides to just watch and message her. And thankfully for her, he is a loser, and that's what he does. Because he tips her off to where Michael Myers is and stuff. There's not a lot more we can say about this piece of shit other than people start getting picked off in a sort of boring fashion.
Yeah,
somebody
the kills...
loses their head by a knife sling.
Yeah, the kills are pretty cheap. They're not very entertaining. But I'd say we could definitely just wrap this up and get to the end of it, because that's really what happens. You just see these kids running around with cameras on their head and catching the murders and things like that.
Yeah, so Busta Rhymes gets involved in a karate fight with Michael Myers, and he does a lot of whoa. And if you watch it on subtitles, at least on Netflix, it says, like, when he's making those noises, emulating Chin Lee or whatever. I don't remember what the name is, but it says something like that, which I thought was funny, instead of just
the
saying
sounds.
like stupid noise. Yeah. And so he gets in a fight in the garage, and he ends up shocking Michael Myers in the penis with a
which is
cable.
Ridiculous. Yeah,
a cable that he unplugs. It's like a mic cable. Somehow he shocks him with that, and then he says like "trick or treat, motherfucker." Before that, and then he says like, "You're gonna die, motherfucker," or something like that, and then "burn, motherfucker," and then so eventually, he gets hung out to dry. Those guys, he totes off girl. Michael Myers gets shipped back to the old morgue, and they're like, "Oh, we got a celebrity here tonight," and the lady goes to check him out, and guess what?
It's not over.
Nope, because he opens his eyes.
Yep.
And that's the end of the movie.
Yeah, pretty. Wow. Yeah.
It's a turd.
It is a turd.
So, I think, Trevor, that this movie, with all that being said, you're going to like this movie if you like fake Michael Myers high chair, crotch shocking,
yes,
teenagers that use the word gullible, ridiculous underground bunkers, because I forgot to say, he turns out he's living underground, eating rats and stuff. Watching men lower themselves from the rafters with one hand. And finally, this kind of goes for the whole series, security personnel that look away from security monitors just as something starts happening.
In time.
So that's that. Why don't you go ahead and say what you think about this mask, this actor, And if you can remember anything from the score, or I guess the soundtrack, that was a bunch of ridiculous music that was popular in 2000.
Yeah. First off, The Killer, The Mask. The Mask is not too bad. It's like we had said in the last episode, the masks continue to progress in a more positive side. This mask is... It looks like there's shadows and things that are painted on it to make it kind of look creepy, but it's the closest to one since 2.
He's got a blush.
Yeah. The hair's kind of ridiculous in this one. But the killer himself is he's pretty big.
Mm-hmm.
He's pretty huge. The one arm thing, not sure if I really like that being continued, but I don't know. I just wish he would have killed the people in this a bit more creatively, which he really doesn't.
Or gone back to killing the way that he usually kills people.
Yeah.
And by usually, I mean in the first couple.
Mm-hmm. So I'm not too fond of him, even though he looks like he possibly looks like he's going to provide some entertainment.
Yeah.
But he doesn't follow through too well.
He's not a flailer, though.
He's not. The score, I don't know, it's pretty lame. Other than the main theme in and out of that, I just think it's, like you had said, they're trying to modernize it, and music around the early 2000s with Busta Rhymes and things like that. It's not my favorite. I don't know, it's not the worst one, but I wasn't too thrilled with it. Now, lastly, what should I be spilling, Steve?
Well, why don't we save that until after the dumpster rating?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Let me tell you this.
Mm-hmm.
I think The Mask is good. How good, you ask?
How good?
You're going to have to wait till after the rating. The soundtrack score thing is bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
It's terrible. Aside from the main theme, which is, the main theme. If you're not sure how I feel about the main theme, listen to the last 7 episodes we did. As far as the actor, he's definitely better than the guy that does 4. He's not a flailer.
Yep.
So he's better. He's bigger. Which I guess that's okay. I mean, he's not a giant all of a sudden, but he is growing noticeably.
Yeah, he's a growing boy. He's eating whatever down in the basement.
Rats and dogs. So yeah, that's what I think about it. Now, why don't you tell me on a scale of 1 to 5 dumpsters, 1 being the best a B-movie could be, which even though this has something of a budget, it's still a piece of shit.
Mm-hmm.
And 5 being an all-out dumpster fire.
Okay.
What would you give this?
4.5. I'm gonna be quick.
Boom.
I fucking hate this. I don't think I've honestly watched it all the way through with full attention. And I've tried multiple fucking times.
Boom!
The start, I don't know, it can be kind of cool. You think you're in for a ride with Jamie Lee Curtis, but she dies prematurely, and she dies in a poor fashion.
Boom! I'm just going to do that after every time you make a point.
Second, you see him, you see how he looks, and you feel like, once again, wow, he's showing up.
Boom!
He's possibly worked out. He's doing that one arm thing that we don't like, but he's strong. He's got a nice mask. But he doesn't show up. The kills are weak. You can tell he hasn't
aged gracefully, I guess.
He's struggling. Some would say he's struggling. He's at this point he's getting the veterans minimum.
Yeah. His mind says you can still do it, but his body's like, I don't know.
Yeah. And the whole internet thing, especially when you watch it now, it's so ridiculous. Like, even then I really didn't.
Where
like
are you
that.
finding the bandwidth for this?
Yeah, like what? Once again, the whole technology thing that did not exist at that time.
Right.
And even now you think about it, like, that'd be pretty elaborate to do something like that now.
Mm-hmm. This happens in Scream 4, and it's only believable then.
Yeah. So the whole internet, the whole found footage, it's not found footage, it's live footage. But I didn't like that very much. Kind of a drag. And the fact that Busta Rhymes does not die and that there are 2 survivors at the end pisses me off.
Yeah.
Not a fan. So that's why I give 4.5. I think, I don't know, to try to tie up everything and, I don't know, kind of potentially end the franchise. This was on a fucking sad note.
The movie that killed the franchise.
Well, this one of the contributing films that did that, but that's where I'm at. What do you say, Steve?
Well, I say anytime a gentleman asks his child, a young Akkad, Mustafa asks his kid, who should we get in this movie? And the youngster says, Busta Rhymes, which I believe that is how he got him, is a bad start for your legacy movie.
Yeah.
So I would give it, it's a pile. But The Mask is definitely better than
helps.
some.
Yeah.
So The Mask and the fact that he's not flailing is all I really ever have asked out of this series, and they haven't given it to me. So now that they finally give it to me, I can't possibly give it. As stupid and bullshit as this story is,
Yeah.
I gotta go with... I can't give it lower than a 4, to be honest with you. It's... I would say maybe, I don't know, 3.75.
That's legit.
It's a terrible concept and it's stupid, but I've been asking for this the whole time. Give me a decent mask and a non-flailer, and finally the jumpsuit's not too baggy. Now,
Yeah.
this movie would jump up a couple of spots if they killed Busta Rhymes. I don't have to see it. Just kill him. And I would have loved to have seen just an overly graphic, like 45 minutes shot of him just killing Tyra Banks.
Yeah.
That'd have been great.
That, like just grabbing her by the forehead and caving it in.
Yeah, like Passion of the Forehead is what I want to see.
God, I know.
It's something. So, yeah, that's what I'd give it. Probably a 3.75.
That's legitimate.
But make no mistake, none of this is based on the storyline.
No. It's just the complete satisfaction of them finally stepping it up where they needed to.
Yeah, I mean, and it does take place in his house, which I don't think that any of them have taken place aside from the very first one, right? Mm-hmm. Some of the first one. So I guess that's okay. Pretty lame, though.
Pretty lame.
So after that, why don't you go ahead and say what you think. List your favorite masks in order from number 1 being the best all the way to the worst.
It'd be my pleasure to go over the masks. This is a fun topic. I think we could have probably just skipped reviewing Resurrection and
just talked about the mask for 30 minutes.
Because I think we could definitely. I think we could do that.
We could, but we're gonna try to not take nearly as long.
Yeah. All right. So.
Because we got one more review for you after this.
Indeed we do, and it's going to be a good one. So obviously, the first mask created it all. Mm-hmm. If the first mask isn't your number 1. You're fucking delusional.
You're probably not watching this franchise.
Yeah. So 1 is my number 1. 2 is my number 2.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense so far.
The reason 2's number 2 is because, well, it's the same mask, even though it looks a little different. Looks like Deb just couldn't be responsible enough to put this in a nice area.
How do you create a mask, film it in an actual movie? The movie, I know that if it made $70 million at the box office, right? Well, that means that it's in theaters, right?
Well, I think when it was first released, it didn't have it wasn't like a huge success when it was first released.
It made its money back, though.
It did.
It probably made several times the money back before it was out. I mean, before the first year, right? Mm-hmm. How, my question then, do you not just, for example, if it was me, I helped write the movie, helped design the mask, this baby's gone on to make at least twice what its budget was, how do you not fucking put that in a case? Who puts that under their bed and just fucking lays books on it or something? Yeah,
like, as an accomplishment or something like, oh, yes, this is the mask in that movie. Like,
I have 3 Scream masks hanging up and I had nothing to do with that movie.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense, but 2 is my number 2. Number 3. Ooh. I'm going to say my number 3 is Resurrections.
That's good so far.
because
It looks
in
like
some
the first
lighting, in some particular situations where the lighting's just right, you're like, oh, whoa, like that's
one. They might have got it again.
this. Wow, this may have actually been the first mask, but no, you're still disappointed that it's not the same mask, but it's probably the best progression mask since 2.
Especially because you never see the first mask in full light anyway, which you do on this one. So it's possible if they would have kept him in the same exposure, it would
Sure.
look exactly like it.
Sure, I agree. So there's 3. Number 4, I'm gonna say H2O.
Okay.
I don't know if that follows yours.
It actually does.
Oh, wow. Number 4, H2O. I like that mask because it's definitely making up for the 2 movies behind it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's, aside from the hair, it looks pretty close. And it's just, I don't know, it doesn't look like a giant heap of shit. 5, I would have to say, God, this is where it gets kind of hard. I'm gonna say number 6
Okay.
is gonna be my number 5.
I could guess the rest of your list then, because I
yeah.
know how much you hate the
The Nick Cage
yeah.
mask. The reason I picked this mask is because, you know, we're at a point where there's only losers left.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta kind of pick. So I give it that one. It's the closest to 1
of the remaining.
of the
masks.
remaining. Yeah. So let's see here. So my number 6 is going to be, or let's see,
Your second
My
to worst mask.
second to worst mask. It's going to be the
Michael Jackson surprise.
Michael Jackson surprise with like the medium afro slicked back.
Yeah, the surprised one from number 4, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is where our list differs.
See, and that's, now that I'm looking at the photos,
He looks like a joke.
Yeah, I could honestly switch those, but I'm going to stick with what I had said prior. Reason being, because the
Nick Cage one's bad.
yeah, that doesn't even look like a Michael Myers mask. Like the nose is huge; it looks like a witch nose. The hair is
It's
literally slicked back, and it stops at like his shoulders.
It looks like if
Like they should have just put it in a fucking ponytail.
it looks like if Bert from like, what is he, Sesame? Is
Yeah.
it Sesame Street?
Yeah.
Is that Bert's
Bert
It looks
and-
like if Bert put on the fucking Halloween mask.
Yeah,
it's like tall and thin.
It doesn't look anything like a Michael Myers mask, and that's the only reason I don't give number 4 the shittiest mask of the franchise, because it is closer, but it is still shitty.
Yeah, I think same list. 1, 2, 8, 7, 6. I would give 5 my next to last. Oh, I've got him.
Okay.
I've got him.
You got to mentally burn into your skull.
Yeah. The reason 5 doesn't get last for me is because even though it looks like Nick Cage and nothing like Michael Myers, it looks less like a joke. And that's saying something because it looks like a joke. But the last one, he looks so surprised that it's fucking terrible.
Well, the thing too is, have you been to a Halloween store and you can buy like a nice Halloween 2 mask? Because they never sell the first one.
No, they don't.
They sell like 3 different kinds. You can buy the Halloween 2 mask, which is always the most expensive, or you can buy the number 4 mask, and it's like
Which is the worst.
and it's a shitty, like rubbery. It has no like structure to it at
it
all.
just hangs on your face,
It's-
which it looks like it does too.
Yeah, there's no like facial definition in that mask. It's just like a fucking solid flat mask.
Yeah, if you want a number 1, you gotta probably have to pay somebody that knows what they're doing to make you one.
Yeah, I sent you a link to somebody that was making the custom.
I looked at them and I
like
decided it wasn't
$700.
worth it at all.
God damn.
Yeah, you know, if you want a regular Michael Myers mask, you can go on rockabilia.com and buy the Ben Tramer, which is the spot-on first mask, but it's got blonde hair.
Yeah.
If you don't want the blonde hair, do what they did and spray paint it brown. And for that, you got like, how much was that mask? Like $40? Boom.
It's a good deal. Yeah.
That one looks the closest that you can buy. But anyway, yeah, that's the masks.
If anybody disagrees, please tweet or write us on Facebook and tell us why. We would love to
I would
fucking
love
talk
to
about
hear
this.
your ridiculous idea why a different order is more proper.
Yes,
Um,
please.
Does your list have the same as far as how much you liked the movies? Because mine sort of follows those numbers even. For example,
That's
like
good.
movie 1, 2... Well, 8 is not in there correctly, but...
Yeah, 8's a wild card.
Yeah. So, for me, I like best to worst. 1, 2... I think I liked 6, then 7, then probably 8, 4, and 5.
I think that's weird that you just mentioned that, because now I'm looking over my
It's
choices
almost like
here,
the
and it
mask
is.
dictates how good the movie
It
is.
really...
Except for number 8. That's the wild card. But again, that one rated higher up than some of my other ones. So
Yeah. So subtracting that wild card, that is interesting.
the series goes as the mask goes.
Yeah. So I could honestly say that if you want to know what Halloween to watch, if you're not a huge fan of the franchise, just look at the first mask and just burn that image into your head, and then look at pictures of every single movie with the mask, and whatever one looks closest to that, you can watch it and not be too disappointed.
Or you could watch number 1 and give up. Or number 1 and 2 and give up.
Yeah.
Or transition time. You could just watch 1 and 3.
You could do that. But I would recommend watching 1 and 2. I like 2. We talked about that in the first episode, but
I'd prefer a butcher knife, not a scalpel.
yeah. The way he holds it. It's so ridiculous.
Scream at us on Twitter at BMovieTrashTalk, at Trevor Turpin, and at Steve Norman.
Mad balls, gross for one, gross for all. We play with a mad ball, they're gross, funny, yucky, sick. There's 8, so you can take your pick. We throw, catch, it's uh-oh fun. There's so much gross in every one. Freaky fun is what they're for. There's so much ugly, so much more. Gross for one, gross for all. We play with a mad ball. We play with a mad ball. We play with a mad ball. Mad ball.
Freaky fun for everyone, sold separately from Amtoy.
Mad ball.
Oh, mama.
Oh, yeah.
How excited I am to finally review this. I think since we started this podcast, Steve, we've wanted to talk about this gem.
This is the ideal B movie
Yes.
for your B movie podcast.
See, now, this movie is a movie that you could take a checklist, take everything they did in this movie, and go out and make a B movie. And it could be successful.
The only trick is do not call it Halloween 3. Just call it Season of the Witch.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're doing Halloween 3 Season of the Witch.
Oh, yeah.
And basically, written and directed by a man called Tommy Lee Wallace. So we B-movie it back up.
Oh, yeah. Listen to that shredding.
Tommy Lee Wallace, budget $2.5 million, made $14.4 million. 1982, produced by John Carpenter and Deborah Hill. And John did a little bit of uncredited writing on the movie.
Yeah, he didn't get credit for any of that. What is this? I like
It's a song from Wet Hot American Summer.
Oh, yeah.
I just thought it had a good feel for this type of return to our proper B-movie form.
Yeah, it's good.
So yeah, this movie, I guess we can fill you in on after Trevor reads the back of that box.
Oh, well, it'd be my pleasure. I apologize. We still there?
Oh yeah.
All right. Producer John Carpenter, Halloween and the Thing, presents the third chilling installment in the shocking Halloween franchise. When a terrified toy salesman is mysteriously attacked and brought to the hospital, babbling and clutching the year's most popular Halloween costume, an eerie pumpkin mask, Dr. Daniel Chalice is thrust into a terrifying Halloween nightmare. Working with the salesman's daughter Ellie, Daniel traces the mask to the Silver Shamrock Novelties Company and its founder Conan Cochran. Colonel, sorry.
It's a weird name. It's like Colonel.
Yeah.
It's like you're looking at it, it's supposed to say Colonel, but he pronounces it Colonel because he's an idiot.
It's not spelled right on the back of this box, definitely.
Probably not.
But Ellie and Daniel uncover Cochran's shocking Halloween plan and must stop him before trick-or-treaters across the country never come home in this terrifying thriller.
Actually, back of the box, they would be home. They have to be in front of their TV.
Yeah, or around some sort of device that's playing this. But there are no fucking iPads or anything
back then
in
it was
this.
your TV, so they're at home.
Yes.
Home television set. Before we start, I thought we could do something fun. Trevor,
yes.
If you're able, can you sum this up shortly, this whole movie, get the feeling of the movie to people that maybe only have about 5 seconds to hear a review rather than the 30 minutes we're going to take? Could you sum this up in 4 key scenes in about 5 seconds?
4 key scenes in about 5 seconds?
Yeah, say it all in about 5 to 10 seconds.
Super badass. Okay. First off, we have Tom Atkins, a super badass doctor he's got a hunch something's going crazy.
Got to speed it up, man.
Okay, I know. 5 seconds. There's no way I can do this in 5 seconds. There's so much to talk about. I want to hear an example. Let's hear you, Steve.
Here's mine.
Okay.
I'm just gonna act it out a little bit in 5 to 10 seconds.
Okay.
You ready? I can't take the kids this weekend. And then, where do you want to sleep? Where do you want to sleep? That's a dumb question. And then, Stonehenge! And then, shut it off! And if you only had about 10 seconds, now you know what the movie's about.
Okay. You did that justice. I don't think I could top that.
In that case, do you want to play the theme? Replay some of that theme music and that you had there, and then we can start talking about this movie?
Sure.
At 9. Don't miss it. And don't forget to wear your masks. The clock is ticking. It's almost time.
So I bought this soundtrack on vinyl.
Oh, good purchase.
Dude, it's fantastic.
I love it.
It's great. Like the synth, like evil soundtrack is perfect. The commercial is so great.
The commercial is great.
Yeah.
It's catchy. And so this movie opens on October the 23rd. We've got a cat called Harry Grimbridge, and he's chased by men in suits, and he has a silver shamrock mask that's a pumpkin clutched in his hand, and he collapses, and this woogie boogie takes him to the hospital.
Now, out of the 3 masks, where would you put the pumpkin mask?
Dead center. Wait. Oof, it's close between the pumpkin and the skeleton for the best.
Yes.
I like them. I mean, the witch is clearly the worst one, but they're all great. Basically, there's 3 masks. They're made by a company called Silver Shamrock, and they're all the rage. And they have these sweet commercials that keep playing, like that one.
Yes.
And the kids want them because they got a cool look. Now, they may not necessarily be superior to other masks. They may not look cooler, but just like Apple and their products, they have a kick-ass marketing scheme.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what we've got for this movie. And so, yeah, we've got Harry. He's got his shamrock mask. Passes out and gets taken to the hospital. From there, we notice we're waiting. You're like, oh, he's running from Michael Myers. And you wait.
That's what you think, yeah.
And you're like, wait, what's going on here? He's fighting Men in Black.
Mm-hmm.
These men, not like the Man in Black, the badass Bon Jovi guy from Part 6. We were talking about literally MIB, Tommy Lee Jones, and Will Smith style Men in Black. Like, and these guys are just kicking ass, and they're fighting, and they got suits on, and so yeah, that's kind of how the movie opens. You're like, okay, well, maybe Michael Myers has got a team of guys, because keep in mind, this took place after 2. And so you're
this is kind of weird. Like,
the reason we didn't include it is because it's not really belonging in the Halloween. It's in Halloween universe, maybe, not in the Halloween franchise.
Yeah. But it's really weird because as a first-time watcher and it being called Halloween 3 and you start watching this and you see he's running and these people are chasing him, you're not quite sure what the fuck's going on. Now, I thought like, well, maybe like he has something to do with Michael Myers or like whatever, but the guy with the pumpkin mask.
You wait with your dick fully erect. That baby is taut. You've got it. It's raging. It's taut for the whole film. And guess what? Unfortunately for you, you watch an hour and 45 minutes. The film ends. The only time you saw Michael Myers was in a commercial on a TV for a split second. He's not in this movie, so let your boner down.
Yep.
And if you're going to watch it that way, you're going to hate this movie.
You are.
If you're going to watch it as a movie called Season of the Witch, you just might like it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, you got the guys running you think might have something to do with Michael Myers.
Yeah. But that's not the case. Now they finally get to the guy. Right, Steve?
Yeah, they catch him.
Okay. And what do they do to the poor gentleman?
Well, they're sort of fighting him in that lot, and he pulls the thing away, and this car smashes this dude's head, and this weird goo gets all over the guy that's running away, and his name is Harry, like I said. So yeah, when Harry gets taken to the hospital by that ratchety black guy, that's like, I was always taught to do the right thing. I did the right thing, right? It's like, dude, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah,
what
who is this guy?
Problem? And so he turns around and runs out of the hospital. So yeah, the men in black do catch up to him. Basically, the suits come in. They break his nose up into his head.
They grab the bridge of his nose, and they fucking just pull it.
And it just goes, he turns into Juno's all of a sudden, like the big, I guess Greek nose all of a sudden, get the big bridge.
Yeah, big hook nose.
Yeah, and then jams it up there. And then the man in black promptly walks out to a car, dumps gasoline on his face while he's sitting in it, and just lights himself on fire.
Yeah.
And you're like, what the hell is going on?
And at this point, yeah, if you haven't figured that, or haven't read that Michael Myers isn't in this, you're just waiting for him to come in the next frame. What the fuck is this?
Yeah.
These suicidal maniacs and the goo that comes out of that other guy's head, you're just like, what the hell?
Cool.
Yeah, I like that.
So yeah, hopefully by now you've realized that he's not going to be in the movie so that you can enjoy what's going on instead of trying to guess when you're going to see him next, because you will for the whole movie.
Yep.
If you don't know that. So yeah, he sets himself on fire. From there, we get Dr. Chalice, who's Tom Atkins, and he brings his kids some pretty lame, sorry-ass masks he bought from the store.
Yeah, so you hear the music, you hear the commercial going on or whatever. Mm-hmm. Or did the kids turn the TV on after they grabbed their masks?
The TV's on, they grab their masks, and they run in front of the TV to watch it while they're waiting, because these masks are cool, and so is the promotion.
Yeah, Atkins failed here. He just bought those shitty-ass, ones.
Cheap, thin plastic.
The plastic ones with the, elastic tied into the holes, and you just pull it over your face, those shitty ones.
Yeah. And he brings them. He's like, "We got you some masks." Probably they're in a brown paper bag, so they probably sold them at the liquor store. And they're like, "We already got masks, Dad." And he's like, and he talks to his ex-wife, and they're fighting. And guess what? His ex-wife is Annie Brackett.
Oh yes.
Now it's not the same character, but it is the same actress. And you remember her from Halloween 1 fame.
Yes.
And so he's talking to her, and she's like, "I need you to take the kids." And he's like, "I can't take the kids. It's no good for me this weekend." And he never takes his kids.
Oh, he plays the doctor off well. He doesn't. It's not that he has to work or that he wants to work.
He just says he's working.
He just says he's working, so he doesn't have to fucking babysit those rugrats. We know what he's doing.
Yeah.
We know that he's just out to go to Pound Town on some underage or some young women.
So if you don't know what Tom Atkins looks like, he's kind of a square-headed guy with a mustache, and he's always got this shit coffee breath look. Like maybe he's
nailed got
a square head.
Coffee breath. Like he does. He's got
and the thing about it is, this guy's supposed to be 67, but take the guy I just described and dye his hair black, because that's what they've done. He's old, but they dyed it black, and so this guy's strolling around, and he doesn't want to take his kids. He buys them lame gifts, goes back to the hospital.
Yeah, he gets paged.
Yeah.
doesn't he?
And he's got a patient that was apparently murdered in some weird situation, and it come to find out is our pal Harry from the very first scenes of the movie.
Yep.
And so he goes back to the hospital to check this out, and he meets someone named Ellie, who is this guy's daughter. And they start talking, and he's like, I just don't like people getting killed in my hospital. And so he decides, let's not leave this up to the FBI.
Let's take it upon ourselves.
Right.
Ellie.
No vested interest other than the fact that he wants to have sex with this girl that's like 20?
Oh yeah, she's pushing the legal age.
Yeah, and so he's like, you know what? A sane person would go, I mean, even if this happened to your dad, would you, I mean, there might be a 20% chance at the most you'd go looking for the root cause of his murder, but no, she's going to go and he's going to go too. So they've got no leads, but they decide to just go check this out. So they go to the store that the dad runs.
Take your kids for the weekend?
No.
Solve a crime.
I got the kids again, and here comes my act part one.
Yes.
He calls his wife on the phone. He's like, I can't take the kids. No, I've got a conference. And he's like, I can't take the kids. He's got his 6-pack sitting on top of the payphone that he calls her from. Takes it.
This is a setup and payoff, by the way. The whole alcohol, like, can't take the kids thing. Mm-hmm. I think at the end when he's trying to contact her, and she's just, you can hear her through the phone screaming that he's drunk and blah blah blah. But we'll get to that.
Yes, and so through this bit of detective work and the fact that computers haven't really been invented yet, he's able to browse the guy's files right at the joke shop that Ellie's dad owns, and finds an invoice laying on the counter saying that he had gone to a place called what?
The Novelties?
Yeah, the Silver Shamrock Novelties. Mm-hmm. He's like, this might be a hot lead. And by hot lead, he means he's going to bring beer and see if he can trick this girl into playing a game called Sit on My Wiener and I'll guess how much you weigh.
See, I don't think his intention here is to solve a fucking crime. It's more the fact that, I'll pretend I care about this girl's father in exchange for some cheap booze and maybe a sit on my face or two.
Yeah. So they make for Santa Mira, California to investigate, and come to find out it's a
looks like
Irish town.
Looks like some place in Wisconsin.
Yeah. In this California town, it's a place inhabited by a bunch of the Irish folk, and they go browsing around the town, and he decides, you know what? It's only 3:30 in the day, but we're gonna need a place to stop for the night.
Yep.
He discovers his chance number one, so they pull into some dump, and they decide to stay the night. And they get one room because they're trying to look like they're married and here to pick up some masks.
This is part of his ploy here.
He's clever, more clever than he looks.
He's doing the quick fist pump as this happens. He's like, yes, this is just working out. We're going to pretend that I'm going to just go with this and pretend that we need to act like we're together when it's clearly obvious that I could be her grandfather.
Yes. And we've already come to find out he's got the kids. He's in the hospital.
Got the khakis.
Right. He's got the job. He was looking for when that lady was doing the autopsy type thing on that dead body, and he grabs her butt and squeezes it and says he should have married her. He's got the other kids. Now he's with this girl. He seems to know how to run this gamut.
Oh yeah,
this gambit.
He's done it a time or two.
Yeah.
So, is there any dominant place within this movie where they say that is his actual ex-wife? Like, are they actually divorced?
They might be married still. It's hard to say.
See, like, I always thought watching this, and I was like, wow, he's just cheating on his wife so hard.
They're all around town. He doesn't care. And, yeah, so they stop in that hotel. They get the same room. Promptly, Ellie decides to take a shower, get out, and just be wet in the bed. And wet up all the sheets and everything, even though that's a niche. You're not sleeping in wet sheets. No. Doesn't use a towel, just soaking wet, wets down the sheets and blanket and everything. And then he's like, well, I guess I could sleep in the car. I'd be more comfortable on this floor anyway. And she's like, this is another part of what I just said when I was acting out the scenes. where do you want to sleep? And he's like, well, that's a dumb question. And then we proceed to watch old man rub his old man flesh all over this girl. And from there,
there is no sex scene.
You don't have to watch that, but
you don't get to see good old Atkins do his work. You don't get to see his spotted fucking old man's skin.
Yeah, one thing I forgot to mention, though, he does, while they're getting the hotel room, run back out to the lobby, look and see that Ellie's dad had registered at that hotel before he died also. So they know they're on the case. They're close.
They're on the scent. They got a scent going on.
Picked up the scent. And from there, we meet a really cool guy that's an alcoholic that just wants a nip off of his bagged drink. He's like, I don't got anything, mister. Like, convincing him he doesn't have like a disease. And so he's like, okay. And they share this bottle. And that guy decides to run his mouth to the security cameras and gets rubbed out promptly.
Oh, yeah.
We also have a lady, I forget her name, probably Marge, that goes picking around at that silver shamrock button that falls off the mask and gets this sweet shock
to
the face.
Now, it's weird how they're doing like these random tours through this place.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know if it's intentionally do it for tons of different people or if they've just selected a handful or whatever the case is. But, you know, I thought, like, if they're running an operation such as this,
you might want to keep it
you
on
might want to, you might not want to let people in.
Here's what I gather. They go there and they ask about the shipment. They're like, oh, well, we can provide you with another shipment of the orders. And then their friend that they meet, this guy, is the best seller. So they're taking him on a tour. Oh, and he piggybacks onto this tour.
You're right.
And that's how they get taken around.
So they're not doing tours for random people. It's like potential distributors and people that are going to sell the product.
Yeah, so we get to see them making masks and doing all this other stuff. And spoiled ugly kid with red hair that's one of the children from the bestseller. He wants to get a mask off the line. And he's like, it hasn't gone through the final packaging. And he gives him one that's got the button on the back, which, as we find out, has a little sliver of Stonehenge in that microchip, and that's what you need to wear to activate to be in front of your TV to turn you into Bugface. So during the tour, you find out that the dad's car is hidden in the lot. The men in black are staring, and you sense that something is amiss with this Colonel Cochrane.
Fishy, yes. Mm-hmm.
And it turns out they were an old joke shop, and they used to make like live animatronics type things. And you're like, oh, okay. And then they get put in this room.
There's a different word for that. It's not animatronics.
It seems like a George Lucas word.
No,
right?
It's
a
ton.
Hold on, I know
you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's like a humanoid, like a I don't remember what, but
automaton. It's I don't know what the fuck it's called.
So
shit.
Yeah, they're making these things, and they know that he's up to some trouble. So, I think that they might have found him because they ran and tried to take a peek behind the curtain.
Yes.
Find out what's going on. So, Colonel Cochrane doesn't play that way. So he kidnaps Ellie and drags her off, and he kidnaps Tom Atkins, ties him into a chair or something, and makes him watch this teleprompter of the highest selling family as they sit in this room. And why don't you go ahead and why don't you tell me about this scene?
I like this scene.
It's a good scene.
Tom Atkins gets to witness what the full Halloween plan is with this family. So he takes the top salesman, he puts them in an environment similar to I would say probably the common suburban household front room or living room, and he lets the child put the mask on, and they play the commercial. And as it starts going, the chip is activated and begins to melt / create these weird flesh-eating bugs and all these things that are coming out of the kid's mask, and the other part of the family, the mother and father, see what's happening to the kid
that aren't wearing the mask.
And fucking rattlesnakes and shit are coming out of this
they
kid's
start
head.
biting the
and they start
dad and stuff.
They start biting the dad, and you just witness this family just fucking
watch this kid
brutally
get
get murdered
alive.
and melted alive. It's pretty intense.
It's great because it's rare that movies attack children.
Yes,
and this
that's
kid
true.
just fucking gets.
He gets it.
He pays.
Yeah.
He becomes made out of snakes and bugs.
And I'm going to throw this out there. This scene made me put the pumpkin mask at number 1. When it's melting and he's like pulling it and it's like stretchy.
It's like melted to his face and he can't get it off.
So fucking cool. But this scene really, really sets the movie in a perfect direction, because you know exactly what the hell that's going to do to fucking millions of kids out there. And so, I don't know, it just makes it more intense.
Yeah, and so he's like, "Hey, you're mad," and he's this fucking old guy starts talking about Samhain and how people used to, the reason Halloween was invented and all this. You know, he kind of goes over his little plan.
Yeah,
and how
he pulls a James Bond
villain.
Yeah,
and their Celtic ancestry, and they managed to have stolen Stonehenge, which you do see a clip of that on the news before all this happens.
I want to know how they got that.
I'm imagining helicopter, and they just Operation Dumbo drop it, fly it over the ocean.
Yeah, how did you strategically pull that out of the Stonehenge
and we flew it over the Atlantic Ocean?
Yeah, it's so funny.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Did it come by boat? Because it disappeared like just a few days ago.
Yeah,
and so they're chipping bits off of this thing, and they're making it into a microchip somehow. You know, fancy rocket science, computer magic, and the final processing place is just no more than Stonehenge, really. I mean, they got a bunch of scientists, but they're not really working on anything. They're just somehow chipping it off and making it into a microchip.
So
I don't understand.
I'm not clear on this. I could probably watch it a few more times and figure it out, but are these scientists just part of those weird MIB guys? Because I always thought they were.
I just thought they were regular guys.
You got to be paying a pretty penny for these scientists to be pulling tricks like that.
Yeah, well, we find out that the men in black guys in suits are just the humanoid
robots.
type
like
things.
humanoid
They're robots. And so
automatons or whatever.
They got this goo coursing through them, and they look lifelike, but they're robots that are just doing what Cochrane's saying. So
yeah,
they're strong. That's why they're not killable, and that's why they don't care if they just die. And so they could be working back there. I've always thought them as humans, but maybe they're just related to Cochrane, so they want to carry this out, or maybe they're just, humanoids that are doing what they're told, because Cochrane's a genius and figured out the math behind it.
He is.
I don't know. So after that, he decides he needs to escape, so he easily escapes.
He gets out pretty quickly.
Throws the mask over the camera. He goes on destroying the factory and catches back up with Ellie.
Yes, he saves Ellie. She's laying in some one-off room on this metal slab table, and she's connected to it. He breaks in and he gets her out of there.
Mm-hmm.
And they decide they need to get the hell out of there.
So they don't leave. They ruin the place and then they leave.
Oh yeah,
and
fucking thrash that place.
Yeah, and so they go driving off, and as they're driving off, Tom is a little bit interrupted by Ellie, and spoiler alert. She's some kind of humanoid now too.
Yes, now it's quite obvious she was not a humanoid until they did their magic and did whatever to her.
Butt plugged her.
But the funny thing is, before you find out she's this weird robot, he's running around destroying this fucking place, and she's doing anything. She's just helping him do it.
Even though she should be way stronger than him and just beating his ass and killing him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so they get in this weird fight, and an arm gets ripped off, and
it
stuff
leads to
after
a car
wreck.
accident.
Yeah. She makes him wreck the car, and they get in this fight, and that's when he finds out. And he has a look like just as well. He was done with her anyway.
Yeah,
he'd run its course.
Yeah, it was a one-night thing, big deal. That's his plan. But the funny part of this scene is after the wreck, she's completely like dismembered. Her arms are ripped off, and he's sitting in the car, and all of a sudden one of her detached arms like fucking grabs him in the throat.
Starts HJing him.
Yeah, HJ. But
yeah, and he like has to tire iron her.
Yeah, so he gets her off, and then
she gets him off.
Yeah, that's a deleted scene.
Goes on for 25 minutes. Yeah, and so after that, he shows up at the very same gas station.
Oh yes,
right. That is in the beginning.
And who is the fine gentleman that's actually working at the gas station there, Steve?
Our pal Woogity Boogity.
Woogity Boogity.
The black guy that gets a little freaked out. And
he's still wearing that same beanie and everything. But we got a treat here.
That's the end. He's begging for them to stop the commercials because guess what? His kids, along with everybody else, have these masks on.
Yep.
He's been a shitty dad, so the least he could do is save his kids from dying, which he doesn't do.
Yep.
And yeah, that's end scene.
The ending is fantastic. I love that. And the black store owner with the beanie is just staring at him like, who the fuck is this dipshit?
Yeah.
He has no clue what's going on. But I bet that Atkins and that black store owner get a rattlesnake bite or two
before the night is through.
Ooh.
Yeah, so Trevor.
Yep.
You're going to like this movie. If you like Old Man Coffee Breath Face, sweet 3-option Halloween masks that are better than others offered in town.
Indeed.
Stonehenge, terrible fathers, seeing bratty children get what's coming to them, and upper male old man nudity.
Oh boy.
If any of those are your thing, we got the movie for you.
Yep. All right, so now we get the fine luxury of doing what we usually do in all these episodes, but it's kind of weird because we don't have a killer or a slasher. So
I guess Cochran and his masks and humanoids will have to do.
Yeah. So what do you want to go first? What do you think about the villain and how the evil force they have and how they use it?
Villain force, their general look, and the score. You say?
I say.
The overlying evil. It's all right. Men in black suits are much more scary in real life than on TV.
Yeah.
Usually in conjunction with aliens, but I don't hate the idea. I think it's a good idea. It would have been great for the masks to be Michael Myers masks, though. Imagine that.
That'd be kind of
Instead
cool.
of these masks, the kids are putting them on and then they get killed the same way. That's an idea.
I hear that's how it originally was, and they CGI'd all that out. I'm just kidding.
They changed it before CGI was invented. They stop motioned it out. The score is great.
It is.
It's a classy good time. This is a movie that is a good one in the spirit of Halloween season. It's not like Creepshow or Trick or Treat, but it is a good one to watch on Halloween because
it's not an anthology.
Yeah, because like those though, it does celebrate Halloween things. It's got a Halloween.
It's very Halloween
feel.
themed. Yes.
Yeah, you feel it that way. So I enjoys it. How about you?
Oh, it's fantastic. The villains or the villain, I really liked. I liked the fact that you were thrown right into situations without knowing who they are or thinking they're related to Michael Myers, and then seeing them just like brutally kill people and then just commit suicide. Like they're these just like kamikaze robots. Pretty cool. The Cochran, right? Mm-hmm. The main villain, he's a fucking baby genius. Now, he gets zapped at the end and finally meets his doom after good old Atkins drops a big-ass box full of those chips all over.
Yeah, he does.
Kills everybody with those, which, bravo.
Let me ask you a question about Cochran.
Sure.
Is this movie just out of order, out of place, and this Cochran is Michael Myers once he's retired from the mask?
Oh, boy.
Because he's like baby genius.
Yeah, he's just this weird fucking genius that... that just has this mad knowledge of science. I mean, when you're
insatiable love for the dead.
When you sit in your catacomb and read science books,
he's got to be drawing off all that Myers family fortune because he's never had to pay rent.
That's true.
So he's he's living dirt cheap. He's got to he had like $50 in the bank, and over this course of this like 40 years, it just racked up.
Yeah. He just has this fucking savings bond of $50 that grows into like hundreds of thousands.
Yeah. So, yeah, what about the score?
The score is fantastic. Like I said, I had purchased this on vinyl at Death Walt's release that they came out with. Dude, it's fantastic. The score itself, it's different than Halloween. Mm-hmm. I mean, there is a point in this film where they actually use the Halloween / Michael Myers theme. Not the dee-doo-doo, but the dun. I think they use one of them, don't they? The dun.
They might.
They use one of them.
You do get to see in this movie both Michael Myers and his theme as he runs down the stairs in a commercial for Halloween.
But they actually use one of the... Oh, I know.
I think it's like the... Isn't that...
It's one of them, and I'm going to play it right now so everybody knows.
I'm waiting.
The world's going to change tonight, Doctor. I'm glad you'll be able to watch it.
All right, so now you know what I'm talking about. That's the theme that they had actually played, but other than that, the Silver Shamrock commercial theme, fantastic. I think it's so fucking great, and they have different commercials.
And they just blast it out every day for like 30 days.
And it once you understand what it actually is, it's I don't know, it just adds suspense to the film.
All right, kids.
So that's the score. What else did I need to cover there, Steve? I think I covered.
Yeah, you like the Men in Black look?
Oh yeah, they're fantastic.
Could you have improved on them at all?
They didn't wear just black. Some of them were in like navy suits. Yeah, they were wearing like...
They're Men in Black as in like they're wearing tuxedos.
They look like Wall Street gents.
Yeah, they dress like they wandered off the set of Men in Black.
Sure. They were... I don't know, they were just kind of plain, but they were super fucking strong, mm-hmm. and I really enjoyed the drill bit scene.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, but I don't know. I liked how plain they were. I enjoyed that.
It's a good one. So, in that case, on a scale of 1 to 5 dumpsters, 1 being the best a B movie could get, and this movie had a $2.5 million budget.
Yes.
But make no mistake.
Only 2.5, wow.
That's definitely B movie range, and it is a B movie. It did make $14 million, but that was all just coasting off the success of the Halloween movie. So 1 to 5 dumpsters, 1 being the best B movie could get, 5 being an all-out dumpster fire. What would you give this movie?
This is easy. I give it a 1.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. Other than the fact that you could potentially bag on it for being called Halloween 3
mm-hmm.
right after the first and second. If you put that aside, this movie's fucking perfect.
Yeah, I read that Tommy Lee Wallace, the writer-director guy, had mentioned his mistake was calling it Halloween 3. Because he should have just called it Season of the Witch.
Yeah, and then that's because it didn't get the the financial success. I mean, I think it destroyed that. I'd love to see the actual gross now, like how much this movie's actually made now, because as of now, it's a huge cult classic.
Well, yeah.
And it's fucking, I mean, it's in like contention with Halloween 2 being the best, the second best Halloween movie.
Well, to be honest with you, everybody that I've ever watched it with was under the impression that Michael Myers was going to be in it. So they were less than thrilled.
Didn't we watch this with Brandon and he thought Michael Myers was going to be in it?
He didn't love it. Derek hated it. Those are both people with of previous this show fame.
Yes.
They were our guests.
Yes.
They don't like it, which I guess I can't blame them. But me and Trevor have been doing our part for the better part of almost a decade to trying to get people to watch this bad boy.
Yeah.
And it's a good one.
All I can say is throw aside the relation to Michael Myers. Throw it out. And this movie is fantastic.
Yeah. It is.
Perfect Halloween movie.
It's a B movie.
Yeah.
But it's fun to watch. It's good.
It's the pacing. You don't get bored through it, which I think is great. And Atkins is fantastic.
Yeah, and if you're going to be watching it, even if you're getting bored, you could just be carving your pumpkin anyway, because this is the movie to do it to.
Yeah. And it is super Halloween themed. Like it's about Halloween. Yeah, like it's perfect. But the acting isn't bad. I think Atkins is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a solid one. The score is fantastic.
This is more what they want to do anyway. They want to do sort of a not so much anthology, but just they wanted to change what's going on, a different story on Halloween every time. John Carpenter wanted to do this for number 2, but they wanted to do Michael Myers. So that random story about just a random guy named Michael Myers got turned into 2 movies. You cannot change it after 2 and not have him in there. If they would have done it after 1, it wouldn't have been as big of. I mean, it might not have been as long lasting of a series, which might not have been a bad thing.
Or could it have?
But they could have done it. Yeah, a different story every single time.
Can you imagine that?
It would have been cool.
Yeah,
because we would have got probably similar things, but different masks, which were why I hated it in the first place. And that's John Carpenter didn't want to do it. He did do the themes for this, and he did help write uncredited on this because that's what he wanted. He wanted it to be something different, but.
So I guess what we've learned here is fuck Hollywood for ruining the potential opportunity for John Carpenter to continue the whole franchise with different stories.
Yep. And I sneak it in real fast. I would also give it a 1 because of the reasons I just named.
Yes. It's perfect. It's a movie you'll watch every Halloween. You won't get tired of it. It's just everything about it's perfect. It's a great, I mean, for a B movie, I would say this is like the perfect formula. If you want to go out and make a successful B movie, like take this and just use this as like a checklist because it's fucking fantastic.
Well, yeah, and it might not be as ridiculous as other B movies, but those B movies that are more ridiculous, which I really like them, they aren't as successrock.
Sure. This is ridiculous, though, if you think about it.
It's pretty ridiculous.
They stole part of the Stonehenge and put rock chips from the Stonehenge into Halloween masks.
Right, but
you know what I mean? But it's not.
It's ridiculous, but it's not as ridiculous as like Santa's Sleigh or Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers or
that's true.
Pieces. There was a lot of over the top ridiculous, like Brain Dead, Dead Alive.
Yeah,
super fun and ridiculous, but not as successful.
Sure.
But then again, it might be because this was called Halloween 3.
Yeah.
But anyway, I also, one thing to add quick, I found on YouTube today, some fans have made a direct sequel. I don't know if it's a direct sequel to Halloween 1 or to Halloween 2, but either way, it's supposed to take place instead of this, I think.
Really?
And it's like an hour long. I didn't.
So it's like a fan film?
Yeah, I didn't get to watch it, but it has like 2 million views on YouTube if you search it.
You know what we should do? We should watch it.
Watch that.
And not do a full episode on it, but watch it and maybe have like a quick segment where we talk about it, because I think, especially after this, because I think it may...
It's probably done more competently than most of this series.
Yeah, it may help us, or possibly help us change our mind on how we feel about the franchise. But
perhaps so.
Yeah.
Well, these were our long form series retrospective. You may not have liked it. You may have been scared by the sheer number of minutes.
You know, we didn't like it.
Walking around with armadillos in our trousers.
Yeah, I think watching this, and when we came up with the idea of let's fucking break down this whole franchise, and then getting halfway through it, you're like, oh my god.
That happens to me every time I go to watch this.
Jesus,
though. I get halfway and I'm
you
like,
don't realize how ridiculous.
Yeah, I've gone too far to give up, but now I have to finish, and I'm halfway in.
Yeah.
Loose butthole.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm down to do some more franchises.
We can. Do you like them all together as long episodes, or would you rather them split up? You tell us, and if you don't, we'll just do what we want.
Yeah. So if you don't respond, we'll just
assume you trust our judgment and let us decide.
Yeah, but if you like these franchise breakdowns, let us know. We're more than happy to break down any franchise that falls within the B-movie trash talk.
Or even if it's more ridiculous horror.
I'm glad
we could look into those.
Yeah, I'm glad we didn't do Puppet Master. I thought about that a while back, and then
I've only seen the first one.
Oh boy. They're just they're fucking snoozers, man. It's tough to get through them, but yeah, I say we definitely plan on doing another one of these bad boys soon.
Well, all right.
Well, that's it. That's 3.
That's the whole fucking series now.
Yeah. I'm glad we got that off our chest. Please feel free to hit us up on Twitter at BMovie Trash Talk, at Trevor Turpin, and at Steve Norman. Mm-hmm. We would love to hear what you guys think about the progression of the Michael Myers mask and what you guys feel is the right order. And if you don't agree with Steve and I, we would love to argue with you as to why your choice is better.
Yep.
You can also get us on Facebook at facebook.com/BMovie Trash Talk and hit us up there. I think we check both of them frequently, right, Steve?
Sure.
But other than that, we are another episode down, and we will be reviewing some fantastic November movies. We're not going to give them out yet, but I can assure you will be entertained.
Are you not entertained?
Well, Steve, that's it. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Have a fantastic November.
Bye.